because there's the original.
We gon' do it again. By the way, we gon' do it again. Let's go. You gon' talk about them C's on our hill, and we just cop them things, homie.
Fun fact, this is the second time that I am making this video. I did this last night, and when I went to go edit the footage, something was off. And at first I couldn't tell what it was. And then I realized it was the sound. The sound just seemed messed up, and I couldn't figure out what was going on with the sound, why it was messed up. And when I stepped away from editing and I looked at my setup and I looked at my camera, I realized that my microphone was not plugged in. Thought it was plugged in, but it was not. And this, kids, is why you need to really pay attention. You really need to pay attention to what you're doing when you're doing something. And the funny thing is, you didn't need to know all of this. I could have made this video and uploaded, and you wouldn't have been any wiser. You've been like, oh wow, Jay's got a new video, and you would not have known about the behind the scenes fuck up. But I'm sharing this because this is a lesson. It's a lesson that I learned, and I just want to impart that wisdom to you. Pay attention to what you're doing. Make sure that your setup is properly set up. Not just for making videos, but like whatever you do, whatever you're endeavoring to do. Make sure that everything is everything so that you don't mess up and you discover that you have to do whatever you're working on a second time. Lessons. You learn life lessons on my channel. Speaking of my channel, welcome. I'm going to assume that a lot of you have come here because you saw my interview with Film Courage that recently went up. Shout out to David and Karen of Film Courage. I had an amazing time, a lot of fun speaking with y'all, and I'm very appreciative for the opportunity and for what you guys do. So thank you very much to Film Courage, to my viewers. Check them out. I will link to them. I'll put a card up here, but then I'll link to them also in the description below. So yeah, I've gotten a few new subscribers, and I know that more people are looking at the channel. So again, if you've come here from Film Courage, just to give you a brief intro, Jay Fingers, writer, editor, novelist, journalist. This channel is mostly about me, and I will get into me in another video, but I wanted to make something really quick because I noticed in the comments of my Film Courage interview, some people were asking about Save the Cat. Save the Cat was something that I was asked about in the interview. Why do I love Save the Cat? But there were people in the comments that had no idea what that was referencing, what I was talking about. So I just wanted to make this quick video to kind of explain what Save the Cat is and why I'm into it. Save the Cat is a screenwriting book written by the late Blake Snyder. It deals more with technique and structure than formatting, but as I said, I really dig this book. It's funny how I discovered it. I was still living in New York at the time, and I was walking past a street vendor in my neighborhood, and I looked down to see what he was selling, and I noticed Save the Cat amongst some of the other books and CDs and stuff. And I'd heard of Save the Cat, but I hadn't read it. I hadn't really gotten too deep into it. And so I asked the guy, how much for this book? And I remember he said $1. And I was like, word, $1? You got a deal. Gave him $1, took Save the Cat, and pretty much devoured it. Now, I know some of you are asking, Save the Cat, what does that mean? Well, Save the Cat refers to a trope that Snyder alludes to in this book. And the trope is exactly that. It's saving the cat. And it's an action that the protagonist of a script or movie or novel or whatever, it's an action that they take so that we, the audience, will root for that character. It's often done to make the character likable. And while it's not necessary to make the protagonist likable, you want to have a reason to root for them. And a Save the Cat moment shows that they are the type of protagonist you want to root for. And the trope is the trope. I really don't know how old it is, but I definitely recall like Superman saving a cat. I don't remember if it was in like a comic book or maybe it was in like one of the Richard Donner Superman films.
Hey cat, come on Frisky, come down! Come on down, you dumb cat. Come on. Frisky, you dumb cat, will you come down from there? Come on, Frisky, come down.
Hi, I'll get him. on. It's all right. Here you go, miss.
Gee, thanks, mister. He's such a naughty cat. I always tell him not to.
Oh, well, hold on now. Let's not be too hard on Frisky, okay? Bye-bye, Frisky. So long now. Bye.
Bye.
But it's definitely a thing. I mean, that came out in what, like 78. So so it's not something that Blake made up. And it's such a familiar trope that, I mean, it was parodied in Police Academy. This elderly woman asks Tackleberry to get her cat out of the tree, and he unholsters his pistol and just shoots the cat out of the tree.
Can you get my kitty cat out of the tree?
No problem, ma'am.
Or for more animal-friendly parody, it's referenced in the recent movie Free Guy. One of the NPCs is named Phyllis, and players, they can choose a mission where they help Phyllis find her cats. It's a well-known trope, and that's why Blake mentions it, and pretty much why he named the book after this trope, because it's so well known that as soon as you see or hear the phrase "save the cat," that's what automatically comes to mind. So Save the Cat is really divided into two major parts. One part deals with the genres of film, and it's not just like comedy, drama, horror, romance. Blake doesn't do it like that. He's created like these specific genres that do, I mean, yes, like there's one genre that is essentially horror, but the way he explains genre, he says that there are certain elements that you'll find in all of these films, and that's really what places them in this genre. The genre talk is all cool. I mean, I'm cool with it. I dig it. But what I really focus more on is the second major point, which is the structure of the story that you're telling. Blake has what he calls the BS2, or the Blake Snyder beat sheet. And he's got 15 beats that he says every screenplay must hit, every screenplay must include in order to be a saleable screenplay. Someone like me, I'm trying to write commercial feature films. So if there is a formula, a template, something to kind of follow in order to achieve that, then I'm going to pay attention. And I feel like that's what Save the Cat does, is it gives you that template, that guide to kind of follow. And I mean, really all Blake has done is taken the hero's journey and he's repackaged it. If you're not familiar with the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell, back in the day, studied myths from just all across time and noticed the similarities between them. And there are certain points, certain elements that are in every myth, in every story. And he called this the hero's journey. Again, it's nothing new. I mean, even George Lucas followed the template for the hero's journey for Star Wars. And I mean Star Wars. I refuse to call that movie A New Hope. I don't know what that shit is. It's called Star Wars when it was released. It's called Star Wars when I saw it. It's Star Wars. The hero's myth has been seen in countless films and been applied to just countless stories. You're familiar with it. You already know what it is. And if you don't, I suggest just, Google it, get more in depth. But all Blake did with Save the Cat is essentially repackage the hero's journey. And those elements, those common elements, he applied his own terms to them. I'm right there with Blake. I'm just like, yes, every story, just about every story. We're not talking about these experimental kind of movies or whatever. People want to do their own thing and they're not necessarily trying to create a commercial film or they're just being experimental. But I really do feel that the vast majority of stories, they follow this template that's laid out in Save the Cat. They follow the hero's journey. And it's regardless of genre. Whether you're writing a romantic comedy, or whether you're writing a slasher flick, or whether you're writing a family drama, or whether you're writing the next Marvel blockbuster, they all still pretty much follow this template. It's how stories are told. This is what we're used to. And again, if you're looking to write, I think a film that will resonate with audiences, it's not a bad guide to follow. As for the beats, I mean, there are 15 of them. You've got like your opening image, which is exactly what it says on the tin. It's the image that opens your script, that opens your movie. You've got the setup, and the setup is where you introduce your protagonist and you show them in their world, their everyday life, like what's normal for them. Early on, you've got your theme, which is usually stated to your protagonist by a supporting character. Then you've got your catalyst. The catalyst is the thing that changes or threatens to change the normal world of your protagonist. After the catalyst comes the debate. This is where your protagonist just kind of mulls over the events of the catalyst and they're trying to decide what they want to do. Now, sometimes they make the decision to do something about what's happened, but sometimes that decision is made for them. They're forced into action. They're forced to do something that they normally wouldn't do, is what it is, but it's still what's considered the debate. After the debate, you have your break into two, which is break into act two. Every story has 3 acts: your beginning, your middle, your end, your setup, your conflict, your resolution. Breaking into two or breaking into act two is moving from the beginning to the middle of your story. It's moving from the setup into the conflict. There's usually a B story. More often than not, that B story is like a love story, but it doesn't have to be. But more often than not, it's a subplot that helps to define the theme of the film. Then you've got your fun and games. Your fun and games, exactly that. You know, these are the moments that you see in the trailer. These are the fun parts of the story. You know, these are like the car chases and the explosions and all the big jokes and set pieces. Like, that's where this is the fun part of the story. That's why it's called fun and games. Then you come to the midpoint, and the midpoint is exactly that. It's the middle of your story. But there's always something significant that happens at the midpoint. Now, Blake says it can be one of two things. It can be known as a false victory, in which your protagonist believes they've won, but we're only halfway through the movie, so we know that they haven't really won just yet. Also, it could be a false defeat. Something happens that makes the protagonist feel like, oh my God, I've lost. Like, this is, but again, we're only halfway through the story, so we know hasn't been fully told yet. Haven't gotten to the end yet. So do not despair. After the midpoint, the bad guys close in. And this is where things start to really go wrong for the protagonist. Nothing is working out. Relationships are falling apart. They feel like they're failing in their mission, whatever it is. Whether it's trying to win the affections of their coworker, or whether it's defeating the bad guy who wants to take over the universe. Take over the universe. Then we reach the all is lost moment. And that's self-explanatory. It's where your protagonist feels that all is lost. There's nothing that they can do. And from there, they wallow in the dark night of the soul. But after your protagonist goes through that dark night of the soul, they have like a eureka moment, an epiphany. And they come back for the finale. And in the finale, they use knowledge that they've already had, experience that they've already gained, to devise a plan to win, to beat the bad guy, to achieve whatever goal they set out to achieve. And once they've done that, we end with the final image, which is exactly that. It's the final image of your protagonist in their new world. And it's whether they win or lose, but the world has changed because of this adventure they've gone on. You got to read Save the Cat to like really get in depth with all of these beats, but I stand by my belief that they're found in practically every story, whether it's a movie, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a novel, whatever. You find these beats in practically every story that's ever been told. And that honestly is why I'm into it, because it lays out that template for you. Now, following the template is not going to guarantee that you have a great script. Now, Save the Cat does have its detractors, and it's mainly people who say that it encourages writers to produce cookie cutter scripts. But I don't believe that, because we all have different stories that we want to tell, and it's our uniqueness that makes these stories special. I mean, I'm certainly not the first person to attempt to write a boy meets girl story, but because of my experiences, my observations, my worldview, my sense of humor, my sense of romance, my boy meets girl story is going to be different from one that Nora Ephron has written. And it's those differences that make our stories unique. So if everybody in the world follows the Save the Cat template, I don't feel that we'd be producing cookie cutter scripts, because we're all telling different stories. Do they all share the same beats? Yeah, sure. But these beats are found in just about every romantic comedy you've ever seen, as well as every action movie you've ever seen, as well as every horror movie, every drama, every thriller, every superhero. I mean, these beats are found. These beats are found in biblical stories. They're found in Greek myths. I mean, it's storytelling. Why deviate from what works? Especially if you're trying to be successful. So this is why I advocate for Save the Cat. Now, I will admit Save the Cat has become, and I'm going to use this phrase, it has become a franchise. It has become its own, like, its own brand. Because you've got the original Save the Cat. Then you've got Save the Cat Strikes Back, which just goes a little deeper into, you know, the beats and the technique and everything like that. And then you have Save the Cat Goes to the Movies. I like Save the Cat Goes to the Movies because this is the book that actually provides examples from different genres. I think there are like 50 movies that Blake chooses and shows you how the BS2, how these beats are applied to all of these movies. And we're talking everything from like Alien to The Matrix to Saving Private Ryan to whatever. Like, so if you're really interested in seeing how Save the Cat can be applied to feature films, this is the book to get. There's also a book called Save the Cat Goes to the Indies, where they do the same thing. They apply the beats to indie films, you know, not the big budget kind of like Hollywood blockbusters, but smaller A24 type movies, just to show how universal these beats are. Like, you don't just have to like apply them to the Avengers. Like, the latest Wes Anderson film follows the beats. And as someone who writes novels, I was also just like, hey, you know, I could certainly apply this technique to my novels. Well, the good people at Save the Cat thought the same thing because they have Save the Cat writes a novel. And while I'm mostly focused on writing feature films, I know a lot of you out there are more focused on writing TV. And I get it. You know, we are still very much in the second golden age of television. So if you're wondering if you can apply Save the Cat to TV writing, Save the Cat Writes for TV says you can. Now, to be honest, I have not read Save the Cat Writes for TV. I haven't gotten into it yet, but because I do trust the Save the Cat brand, and because I do trust the author of this particular book, Jamie Nash, who I've known virtually through social media for years now, very confident that what's in this book is something you can believe in. So that's it, friends. I mean, that's my as quick as I could be, kind of spiel about Save the Cat, what it is, why I'm into it, why I think you should get into it if you're looking to write, I mean, anything, you know, if you're looking to write feature films, yes, but also if you're looking to write novels, you're looking to write for television, at least give it a shot. And I will say this, you don't have to be so beholden to things like the page numbers, and it's just recognize that these elements are more often than not found in every story that's told. And you won't be producing cookie cutter work. As long as you imbue your stories with fascinating characters and great dialogue, and you make the story emotionally resonant, then your work is going to be as unique as you are. It's just if you need to follow a template, you need a guide to follow to create the best story that you can. Save the Cat is it. But hey, that's just my opinion. Don't hate me for it. Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. So let me know what you think about Save the Cat, what you think about my opinion. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Cheers.
Ladies, fellas.